Well, Biden's southern border is set to burst with yet another wave of migrants. Reports say a massive caravan in Mexico is departing for the U.S. tomorrow, and it's all thanks to reports that Biden is ending Trump's pandemic-era policy, Title 42, which allows the instant expulsion of asylum seekers. Reports estimate that at least 170,000 migrants could be headed towards the U.S. once the policy is lifted on May 23rd. And just for context, that's 18,000 per day. Well, joining us now is New York Congressman Lee Zeldin. Congressman, welcome back to the show. With these reports that Biden is going to end Title 42, there are even Democratic senators, 4 of them, who are concerned about this. Any chance that Biden may listen?
Well, I sure hope so. I'm wondering, why are there only 4? You know, I mean, hey, it's good news that you have 4 Democrats willing to speak up, but I mean, this is greatly concerning. When you get rid of one policy that is going to expose our border further, then you need to replace it with something that is going to be equally securing, or as our preference would be, obviously, to make it more secure. But just to get rid of the policy, and then for a state like Texas, and you have Democrats too, you have members of the House speaking up, you have local elected officials. They see what it means, you know, and while the rest of us, I mean, I'm in New York, I mean, we see people flown into these other states right there on these border states. I mean, they're really getting thrown under the bus when President Biden and the administration makes a call like this, and they have nothing to replace it with to make sure that we are at least as secure.
You know what I think is weird? Lindsay and I flew home from New York today. We got on a plane. They make us wear a mask because the TSA is saying there's still a health emergency, right? So they extended it. But then they're going to get rid of Title 42, which says that there's no more health emergency. So they're telling Americans you have to wear a mask on a plane because there's a health emergency, but they're going to take the health emergency off so you can come into the U.S. willy-nilly.
Oh, gosh.
How does that make sense?
So much hypocrisy. The double standards really infuriate Americans, add to resentment. I mean, we have a situation where you have people who might be NYPD, FDNY, healthcare workers and others who are getting fired because they didn't get the COVID shot. But if if you fall under the celebrity, famous person exception in New York City, well, then you get, you're able to work, you're able to have your livelihood, it's not impacted. You bring up a great example. You see so many different examples across this country. And for people who are illegally entering our country, we shouldn't be bending over backwards for them, because it ends up sending a message. It sets an example for others who are thinking about coming to our country. They're like, okay, well, I can follow the rules. This is how in the United States you have to get the process to follow to get here. Or I could just do it my own way. And then you get rewarded for that. The Biden administration incentivizes you to break the law.
Well, and that's it, Congressman, because it used to be that you would come in, then you would wait in a detention center, they would adjudicate you, and now they're giving people these ankle bracelets, and they just say, go on their merry way. I mean, let's be honest. Are they just going through the motions here? Are we ever going to see these people again?
What happens, to your point, is that people might get an appearance ticket, and they get released into the country, and they never show up ever again. This is catch and release. And what we should be doing, if you're coming into our country, you're not respecting our rule of law, that you are being sent back. I understand we have a process for asylum seekers. Well, let's have the resources at the border to more quickly process those cases, but don't just be releasing these individuals into the country because you'll never see them again. They're not showing back up to court.
So real quickly, I don't have a lot of time left. There were reports that people were being flown around the country, including to suburban New York. You're running for governor. Are you worried that, especially after a place like New York City is allowing these people who are not legally here in this country to be voters, that somehow they're going to be encouraged to vote in the gubernatorial election?
They are not allowed to vote in the races this November, but starting next year in the local races in New York City, over 800,000 non-citizens will be allowed to vote. Add this to the list of ways that people are being incentivized to break the rules. They get money. They get they can personally get rewarded financially, and now they're granted this ability to vote. The principle of one person, one vote belongs to American citizens, the American citizens only.
That's right. Congressman Lee Zeldin, always good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Such a great
Thank
point.
you. Take care.
Such a great point.
All right, that's our show.
That's it. Great point that he made. Anyway, we have a great show on deck for you tomorrow. Congressman James Comer is here talking about Hunter Biden's laptop. You don't kind of want to miss that. And Mark Morgan will be here talking about border sheriffs calling on Kamala Harris to be stripped of her border title. The company quiz, it's back. Stay tuned tomorrow. Thanks for being part of our company. We look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow night. Thanks for being here.